Hi everybody. This is Zichi from Aimerce. Today we have Joey. Joey, welcome here.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit more about what you do.
Yeah, so I'm the founder of a brand called Freeform Shoes. We sell healthy men's footwear, which sounds kind of silly, but traditional men's footwear has just been like an uncomfortable experience. While it looks really great, everyone loves the way you look in it. Loafers are going to be around for a long time. There's just something about, there's a reason why Hey Dudes got so popular
Right.
and why everybody, tends to wear sneakers is because they want to be comfortable. And I think if they had the option to be comfortable while looking their best, they would choose it.
Hmm.
And there's a lot of brands that say they do that. However, we're the only company that does traditionally made menswear with a barefoot toe box, which just means your toes don't get squished in.
Mm.
And we're not making them like obnoxiously wide. Usually, when people hear like a barefoot shoe, they think of like the Vibram Five Fingers where there's like individual slots,
Yeah.
or they think of these really big kind of bread box looking, you know, not that I have anything against those brands. It's just it's not my cup of tea. It's not something I would wear. And so I started this brand just to create something mostly for myself. And because options were either you buy what's out there or you have to buy bespoke shoes. And I
Right.
just didn't have the I didn't have the wallet for that.
That's
So
that's interesting.
yeah, there was a niche. I pitched it to a few people and they didn't want to go on board with me. And so, they encouraged me just to bootstrap it. So we emptied my 401k, and we've been
Wow.
bootstrapping it for the last 5 years. And it's been stressful. It's been fun. There's times I love it, there's things I hate about it, but
Right.
it's just, I think anything.
Well, so bootstrapping is obviously very tough for a lot of people because it's risky. You're using your own money.
Mm-hmm.
When you first bootstrapped, like, how do you have the conviction? Like, oh, this is something.
Yeah, I think what helped a lot was just being it's my first business, so being like a naive business owner. I expected everything was going to be up and running soon. I felt like I had done a lot of research with like making spreadsheets and running scenarios and
Mhm.
different things. And I'm an optimist at heart. People just encouraged me, like local business owners here in Kansas City encouraged me to just bootstrap it, figure it out. I was fortunate enough that I met somebody who knew someone who ran a men's shoe company,
Mm.
and so he was just doing it part time on the side. And he just let me know how he started, what he was doing, questions he had asked manufacturers. And it just gave me a lot of confidence that I could do it. And I thought I was going to be up and running in 6 months. And it was really like a 2.5 year journey.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So luckily, there was no big invoices. I think if I was paying the invoices I'm paying now, then I wouldn't have had the stomach for it. So I was fortunate where, getting samples and choosing things, there was enough fun things in the design side that kept me engaged.
Mm.
And it was a gamble where I felt like there was enough market there was enough margin there. I felt confident in the numbers, and it was something where, yeah, it sucks emptying out your 401k because you feel like you put that away for, 7 years to start building something. But I felt like this could supersede that. And I think I just like the idea of taking a gamble on it.
Hmm. Well, that's entrepreneurship. Like,
Yeah,
I'm a founder
most of it.
myself,
Yeah.
so I totally understand the risk you're taking, and also the reward is huge as well. Like you also like the fulfillment besides
Hmm.
the monetary the award, like fulfillment as building a business that belong to you, is like nothing can be comparable to that. Like what is like one hard lesson that you learned along the way that you wish you knew?
Yeah, I think the biggest lesson I learned, and I didn't learn this right away, and I wish I would have, but I think it's just something I have to learn, and I think everybody has to learn it, is I looked at successful businesses. So at first I started where I was just like, where I am as a consumer, I just want like every option. Like I want
Right.
to be able to buy any shoe style and any like customization and any leather and any suede.
Right.
And that's what I thought, people who were like me wanted. And I think some of them do. But as a business owner, I just couldn't fund that inventory.
Mm.
Like I'd had a bunch of samples and I have a bunch of B stock sitting, in my basement where it's there. And I kind of like now I'm like, man, like we shouldn't have expanded into this. We should have
Yeah.
started with like a very in and out type business model
Right.
where it's like we have a single and a double double and fries and a milkshake and that's it. Like just your basic stuff, nothing fancy, no bells and whistles. So I was fortunate that I realized that before I dumped too much in inventory.
Mm.
because I mean, it would have cost me millions to do what I was originally going to do, and I just didn't have that. So I debated taking on a partner, and then the lesson he was like, "It's just going to cost too much. Like, I don't know if I want to do this." So it was a combination of him kind of saying that, me looking at other businesses that I, like In and Out,
Right.
and just saying, okay, like maybe I need to do this first, start really small, and then expand from there. So I would say the lesson is, take a very simple approach, create a proof of concept first, which might sound really obvious, but for people like me who just get excited and you want to just, let things run, it was something I had to kind of go through and learn. So just taking things slow and then building up from there. And if you can stay cash positive through it, it's all the more benefit.
Right. I think like one of the lessons like founders should know is know your ICP, know your ideal customer profile. You're not gonna cater to everybody. Like
Yeah.
that's not how
Yeah, that's,
you're gonna start
yeah.
somewhere, like make a group of people happy, a small group of people happy, and then you
Hmm.
can expand later, right? That's how everybody started. Nobody starts a Facebook.com, Google.com like from scratch. You have to start with like some university, like from
Yeah.
Facebook first, you know. Cool. So like, when you think about growth for 2025 this year, like what
Yeah,
is
I mean, it's been good. So we finalized the product at the end of 2022. So really, I just started selling, even though I started the business in 2020 in July. It was like 2.5 years of R&D, or almost, yeah, about 2.5. And then so we have 2 years of selling. So every year it's just over doubled in growth the
nice?
last 2 years. So
Wow.
this year we should
Congrats.
even do a little bit more. Growth is something that's always exciting. And I think now I'm at the point where it's growing enough that I'll actually be able to start taking some money from it towards the end of this year,
Nice.
which feels good for me and my wife because that part's been stressful. You just feel like you're just putting money into this thing, and
Right.
unless you look at the numbers often, it's hard to feel like you're getting a return because
Yeah.
the day-to-day life, it's just not really hitting you. But I think growth is exciting. I think, especially with like, people were so worried there was gonna be the TikTok ban back in January, and whatever they did to change algorithms, content's just being shown to a lot more people. So I don't know if platforms kind of felt like they needed to insulate themselves and double down. But I feel like growth it's in a really cool spot. I feel like if you're a new founder, it's more fun. Whereas you look at like 5 to 10 years ago, all these DTC brands were super polished and everything looked like Nike.
Yeah.
All the production was really good.
Yeah.
And now you have all these people just bootstrapping things on TikTok and just doing all this really fun, fresh stuff. And consumers are enjoying the authenticity of that
Right.
and just the simplicity of like, hey, like I'm not in some crazy studio. I'm in my apartment or I'm in my house.
Yeah.
And I think there's an appreciation for, the little guy trying to make it
Yeah.
instead of, these massive corporations with billions of dollars in their pockets where they're like, yeah, like I buy their products, but I'm not really sold on them outside if I wear them. Whereas like there's more belief in founders who are in businesses and brands who are making something that people actually believe in and enjoy. And I think it creates a deeper connection with those products and hopefully more enjoyment in people's lives as they purchase them.
Yeah. 100%. Like, what do you think is the biggest challenge for you this year?
For growth,
Yeah.
I think growth for me is consistency. I have such a hard time like doing social media and just like sitting down and creating a plan. I love collaborating with people on stuff,
Yeah.
which is why I'm entertaining taking on a partner now. But yeah, like sitting down and creating content and thinking of like captions and thumbnails and hashtags is like it's like the big frog. If you ever read that book, Eat That Frog, to me it's like it's not fun to me. It's exciting when it happens and it feels
Right.
good when you get it done, but it's like my least favorite part of
Gotcha.
of growing. And I'm just trying to do everything grassroots right now. So everything is just really organic. It's all just YouTube and collaborations and TikTok and Instagram. We haven't done any paid ads, haven't done any paid
Oh,
SEO
wow.
yet. So it's something I want to get into and we will get into. But for now, it's just, I feel like there's still ground to gain with just doing grassroots.
Right.
And I'll kind of take up that ground first before I start trying to reach for paid ads and, learn that whole ad strategy and everything behind it.
Well, this is very interesting to me that you have never done any paid ads because paid ads is most of people's top of funnel acquisition channel.
Yeah.
Like 99% of people. So
Yeah.
tell me a little bit more about your organic strategy. Like you said, like, partnership with people, like how do you do that?
Yeah, so a lot of it is just reaching out to like the business partner I'm debating taking on was a customer who came through, was just asking me questions, and he also kind of like was into graphic design and agency stuff, and was just kind of asking questions. And it's just I have my most of my customer emails are pretty lengthy. Like if I have 50 emails back and forth with a customer, it's not uncommon. Just
Oh, wow.
asking questions about different leathers or just I don't know, just chatting about whatever. Like sometimes it just gets random.
Right.
And I like that side. Like I enjoy customer service.
Right.
It's fun interacting with people and finding out like, hey, like what made you buy this product? Some people, like they buy their first visit, which
Right.
I'm always kind of shocked by. Some people have been following me for 6 months, and then they finally decided, there's an event that they want to have better shoes for, and they're willing to invest. Because the whole idea too was like create a shoe that people can have. Like I'm really obsessed with quality, where I want to have like one pair of jeans that I love the way it fits, I love the wash, and I can wear it forever. I know that's so like impossible with jeans. So with shoes, I felt like it was more possible, and that's what I wanted. But I debated taking on this partner. We're meeting up this Friday just to talk about, kind of what our ideals are and how we can kind of mutually help each other and grow. So I'm excited about that. But as far as just grassroots growing, I feel like because, like, if I scroll on TikTok, I'll skip over anything that looks like an ad because I've already kind of seen it and done it, and it's not engaging. Whereas I feel like humor is really valid on TikTok, but I feel like brands like to engage in humor is such an art, and I don't really know how I would do that as far as humor goes. But I just think there's a lot of people who are willing to engage with small businesses, whether it's just watching or commenting or ending up buying something. And I kind of feel like I know paid ads are good, and I know ROAS is typically good. I think right now for us, just servicing debt with our income, the thought of dumping, $3,000 to $10,000 a month into it is just like, ooh, I can't we can't stomach it yet. And so because we've been able to just double year over year so far,
Right.
I think I kind of want to take up as much of that rope as I can. And I feel like Instagram and TikTok are just, they make it easy. And there's a lot of people who spend a lot of time on devices. I think like the last six I read was like, it's like almost 6 hours a day
Yeah.
for people, which is wild when you think about it. Because no one would sit for a whole work day, and just be like,
That's true. Now that you
just
say
doing
that.
one thing. But I think it happens in small little, 10 minutes here, 15 minutes there. So I just feel like I don't need to rush into paid ads. I definitely want to know more about what I'm doing with it. I have a friend who runs an agency and works for an agency, and he's always talking about it. I just kind of feel like I'm not at the stage yet, is really the biggest thing. Like I feel like being patient in business is tough. Like I think if I had a lot of money, if I had $150,000 in seed money, I probably would jump into ads. But just doing it all yourself, I think forces you to be patient. And I think for someone with my personality, I probably need that.
Gotcha. That's very refreshing. I mean, like, who doesn't want money? Like everybody
Yeah.
wants nice success. You
Yeah.
want the business start today, and then tomorrow you get $1 million.
Yeah. Yeah. If
So
only.
yeah, no, I hear you. So like, what do you think about if you were to do like other than paid ads, if we were to do like snap your finger and fix one operational bottleneck?
Yeah. I think for me, that would be, my lead times right now for our custom made shoes are really long, and that's something I'm working with my manufacturer on already. They have just a lot of stuff going on in Spain right now. So that's kind of a mix up, but that would definitely be one of them, is just kind of like making my manufacturing move quicker. But I think the biggest thing for me would be just that social media is more streamlined. As far as like batching content creation is something I've started like brainstorming how to do more. Just simplifying that whole process where I can get months of content, weeks to months of content done in like a 3-day stretch, and just kind of like nose to the grindstone for those 3 days. And then, yeah, I think for me, that would be the biggest thing. Cause again, like that's my whole sales funnel pretty much is Instagram and TikTok. And I guess some people come through Reddit and some through YouTube. So Putting that content out for me is kind of like my main strategy, and I'm not great about it, which is kind of like almost an oxymoron.
Were you doing everything yourself, or you have?
Yeah, it's all just me. So I'm doing all the fulfillment, all the customer service, all the website
Oh wow.
stuff. Yeah, it's I don't know. It's me and my wife talk about this a lot, where it's like, you know, there's always something to do.
Right.
And they say that in the restaurant business too. And I used to like work in restaurants, and it was not true. Like certain times there's nothing going on, everything's clean,
Okay.
and there's no dishes to wash. But yeah, it's like there's always something to learn, something to fix, some copy to optimize, some
Mm.
email flow to improve, some button doesn't work anymore because there was a theme update. I don't know. It's hard to kind of pick the ideas of what you want to do. And I just recently implemented Notion, which I'm not sure if you're familiar with it.
Yeah, I'm using it.
Yeah, so I'm like, I love Notion. I think it's the coolest thing.
Yeah.
So I just started kind of putting everything in there over the last few months, and that's been helpful as far as streamlining things and making it
Right.
easy for me to pick up a task and focus on that task instead of like seeing the 100 tasks that need to be done and
Right.
kind of trying to spend 5 minutes on each one and then not really having anything done at the end
Right.
of a day or a week.
Yeah. No, I hear you. I see. Gotcha. Gotcha. So like streamline the operational efficiencies and
Yeah, yeah.
gotcha. Gotcha. Well, my last question for you is like if you were to like change one thing of your this year, like what one thing what you would change? Um,
Like one hope or just one change? Like if I were to
you
switch something
change like
over.
we would do like completely differently.
To do completely differently. I'm not sure. There's things I have in the works I'm excited about. Like I'm working on a high heel that I have a patent pending for that I'm really excited about.
Gotcha.
So I think the one thing I would change is that gets out. If I can get that out by the end of the year, like I'd be so ecstatic.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Hopefully that
That's
happens soon.
yeah, women just buy so many more shoes, and there's so much more fun to be had on the design side of women's
Yeah.
shoes than
Yeah.
men's shoes. Like men's shoes, they're really utilitarian. There's a little bit of fun to be had, but you kind of burn through it quick.
That's
Whereas women's shoes, you guys have so many styles, and it's like there's so much stuff. With men,
right.
it's just like there's shoes and boots, and there's a handful of styles of each that people really want to buy. And
Right.
women have like there's like 80 different varieties of shoes you can go into, and then you have colors and patterns and different textures that you can do. So I think for me, the one thing I would change is that those plans just come to fruition.
Mm.
It's been that project's been dragging its feet for 2 years now,
And, no.
just from different vendors that I'm working with. So I think I would just be that moves forward.
Gotcha. Well, hopefully this happens very soon for you.
Yeah,
So
we'll
yeah,
see.
it's important. It's a half of the population.
Yeah, the half that spends a lot of money too.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Joey, for your time. I hope everything goes well this year for you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, Ichi.
Yeah.